Hello, friends. It's time for Talk for Dodge, the show that uncovers the stories behind the houses and the heart of our community. I'm Jeremiahjcondon.
And I'm Todd McCubbin, and today we are here with Esther Laupp from Comedia Players. But before we do this, let's talk about a quick market update.
Little market update. I'm going to skip to feature house of the week or weeks. 1261 North 25th Street, just listed this morning for $199.9. 2-bedroom, 3-bath home. Right across the street from Cooper School right across from Cooper School. I was going to say Cooper School neighborhood, but it is in the neighborhood.
So I have to laugh. Growing up, we had one bathroom. Well, we kind of had one in the basement. Everybody was scared to go to, but until I got older, I did not realize how important 2 bathrooms is.
Yeah.
Because, there's only 2 of us in the house now, and it's like, we were at a hotel room the other day, and I'm like, I am so sorry, honey. She goes, go down the hall, and I'm like, oh, that's probably a better idea. But 3 bathrooms, that can keep all 3 of you busy.
Yes, absolutely. And main floor laundry and 2-car attached garage, fenced-in yard. It's got everything a human being needs.
In a phenomenal neighborhood, Cooper School, just because I live up there.
Yes.
So
the market is weird. It feels like we're saying the same thing every time. Interest rates are just kind of stagnant. I don't know when this is coming out, but tomorrow's voting day.
So they moved the Fed meeting until Thursday. So hopefully on Thursday, they lower the Fed by another 0.25%, which I don't think is going to affect mortgage rates so much, but more short-term loans should start coming down. The interest is going to start dropping on those.
Let's do it. I printed off some interesting facts.
Uh-oh.
And the first one is awesome. I like this one. Paranormal activity. According to Zillow, 1 out of 10 Americans have sold their homes due to paranormal activity.
Really?
Yeah. I would call BS on that because in 10 years, I've never had one person say they've sold their house because of paranormal activity.
Oh, yeah. Between the 2 of us, there's probably 500 homes, and I've never heard anybody say, probably more than that. We should add it up. But no, I've never heard anybody say there's a ghost in the house.
Maybe you should start asking. Maybe they're scared to tell you.
It's on our disclosure. It used to be.
Is that a hazardous material defect if the house is haunted?
Could be. If they're throwing stuff at you.
That's true.
Women in real estate. Women make up 66% of U.S. residential real estate workforce. Millennials have been the leading group of home buyers since 2010.
That seems earlier than I thought it would be, but that makes sense. That's about right.
Mm-hmm. That's 14 years of leading the market, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And McDonald's. Everybody knows McDonald's. McDonald's was originally founded as a real estate company that bought land and leased it to franchises.
Have you ever seen the Ray Kroc story? One of the best movies. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it talks about how Ray Kroc was opening a business, and he's like, you're making 2%. He goes, the real money's in the real estate. And if you ever get a chance, we'll have to maybe add it in the subtitles, the name of it, because I can't think of it right now. But it's it's a great movie to watch. And of course, as an entrepreneur, it just makes me excited to go.
And my last interesting fact is one that I'm going to start telling people about. And a lot of 90s houses have this, is the brass doorknobs. Did you know that brass doorknobs disinfect themselves over a period of 8 hours? The ions within the metal have a toxic effect on viruses, molds, spores, and all living cells.
Really? So if the earth was brass, we wouldn't be able to live on it because it would...
This was also on a Google search. So this has not been...
With a grain of salt.
Yeah, I don't know where it was whatever from. But
I love it. Those are great.
Pretty cool.
We should do that more often.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
so
on to bigger and better things now.
Oh.
That's right. Comedia. Esther, tell us about yourself.
I'm Esther Laupp. I kind of know Todd a little bit.
We've met.
Yeah, maybe my father-in-law. So I am not originally from Iowa. I am originally from Michigan, moved here by way of Pennsylvania, and I have been performing my whole life. And so when I moved here, I was really excited to see the performing arts community that Fort Dodge has. I say this all the time, but for a community of this size, Fort Dodge should not have what we have in performing arts. I mean, the live music alone, there's always something going on. And that's the other thing I say too, is I don't understand why people say there's nothing going on, because I feel like I'm missing stuff all the time because I'm busy, because there's, 4 or 5 things happening a night every weekend. I love to do musical theater. That's the main thing that I do here in Fort Dodge. And I am currently the board president of the Comedia Musica Players. Originally founded in 1968 by longtime Fort Dodge choral director Larry Mitchell, and some other people as well. But
Larry was that was my a cappella, my choir teacher in high school.
So he founded Comedia Musica Players. We put on one full-size musical a year, typically around this time in the fall. Our musical this year is Holiday Inn, going to be this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So they've been performing. We've been performing as a troupe since 1968. The only year we missed was good old 2020.
Oh, yeah. That was a rough one.
Yeah, so now we're all confused. How many do we go by how many performances we've done or how many years? Because it's a different number now and it never used to be. So,
Could you squeeze like a small one in just to make a match up against it?
Make up for
We're not going to do a big production. This is a 20-minute production of Why We Like Being in Comedia Players.
We just got to get our numbers back together.
Make a match again.
Yeah, so we've been doing that, since 1968. We are a nonprofit, so we are pretty much run off of grants and donations and sponsorships. And musicals cost a lot of money to put on. Don't know if you know that, but we usually can spend anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 putting on a production. So
I guess I didn't realize it was that much, but it makes sense. By the time you buy, you got to buy the rights.
Yep.
You got to buy the literature, the music, everybody needs.
I got to pay people. I got to pay musicians.
You got to pay lights. You got to pay.
Yep. I got to pay for the place, the actual stage, because we do not have a set place. So we kind of go where we can. Back in the day, they used to do a lot of things at Starlight because they were primarily a dinner theater at that point. There was another place, and you'd have to fact check me on this, but there was a barn, I guess, somewhere that they used to perform in.
It had a big American flag on the side of it. It was so cool.
Yep. So the Comedia did some stuff there.
That's when Dad was in it.
Yep.
Or Grandpa.
Oh yeah. And that's the other thing too, bringing up family, is we have a lot of people who have been doing this, who have been doing this for 40 years, and their children have performed, and their children are performing now too. So it is really a family thing as well that a lot of people get to be involved with. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where you're not going to get rich in. So you literally have to have a passion for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You'll find most people who, do arts aren't doing it for the money. There's no money in it most of the time.
No, unless you're Jelly Roll, you're not going to make a lot of money.
For sure.
Yeah. So funny thing, you mentioned Larry Mitchell. So we got to bring this up because his wife worked for Kesterson Realty.
Oh, shoot.
She was a realtor there when I started. You remember?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's you talk about family and small town, and it's all right there. And
everybody has to do everything pretty much. So,
Yep. What's your favorite role you've ever done?
Ooh, I've played a lot of different roles and a lot of different shows. My first musical, full blown costumes production, was when I was 12. And so I've been doing this for, 20 plus years now at this point. So it is hard to kind of pick a favorite role. But when Comedia did 9 to 5 a few years ago, I got to play Judy, and that was so fun. It was, female empowerment and all that. And that was a good one. I really like that one.
Just so you know, we have Henry, my granddaughter, her daughter is in the studio today. So if you hear somebody talking in the background, it's Henry, making sure her mom stays on target.
She's fact checking.
She is. She keeps me on my toes.
She keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
So 9 to 5. This year, you said it is
Holiday Inn. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. I know this one because I've been watching the movie since I could understand English. But it's originally a movie. It's all music by Irving Berlin. And it was originally a movie with Bing Crosby. And it's where White Christmas debuted. So it's where you first heard of White Christmas.
So we get to hear White Christmas this week.
Do, yeah. And it is a bit misleading because it is a Christmas, musical in a sense, but there's way more holidays involved. What ends up happening is Jim Hardy, he is a, star on stage in New York City. He decides he's done with the life. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And so he buys a farmhouse in Connecticut and is going to move there. Comes to realize that farming is not his forte. He is an artist, not a farmer. And he and a team of friends that he had from New York decided to turn it into an inn where you can come and stay, and they would put shows on, but only be open during the holidays because that's the only time anybody had free. So it's closed every other time of the year, but come New Year's, there's a show. You can come stay. Valentine's Day, 4th of July, Easter, every holiday. Yeah.
Well, there's an awful lot of holidays now, so I think he'd be open a lot.
Oh yeah, probably way more. The show
National Ice Cream Day.
Just all those.
National Hug Your Realtor Day.
The show originally.
So is there a song about every holiday?
Oh, for the most part. They skip Halloween. I don't know. They didn't seem to like that one.
There's a lot of good Halloween songs too.
Yeah.
There is.
But yeah, let me think. We've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, Valentine's Day, 4th of July.
And so it is being held at the historic Phillips Auditorium.
Yes. So we've been here for the last couple of years. This has been really a blessing, I think, for Fort Dodge, but for us especially. When Iowa Central, which is where we usually had our shows, they obviously did their whole renovation. And when that happened, we're like, okay, we're going to be out for maybe a year. And as we all know, that took about 3 years, if not 4.
Took a lot.
Yeah, wow. It took a lot of time. And so while this was all happening, Shelley Bottorff told me, hey, we're going to be renovating Phillips. Do you guys want to have your show there? I was like, okay, great. So yeah, the first year with 9 to 5, we had it there. The space is amazing. The fact that it's been preserved through so many years of children is astounding by itself. But just getting to be a part of Fort Dodge history in this sense and being, one of the first groups to perform there and really try to turn it into what I'm sure will have an outstanding legacy even further has been really special. And
it gets better every time I'm there because didn't you just build you have beer and wine, which is cool. Yeah. You can't do that anywhere else. No. But didn't you just build a new bar to go in the front there? So
we haven't built anything. I don't know if they've got plans to build anything permanent, but they did just install a whole bunch of new sound and lighting equipment.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And so that's been because the last couple of years we've had to bring in our own. We've had to rent from local contractors, and we still do that a little bit to supplement. But yeah, this year they've been installing all their own stuff, and so that's just adding to what's being offered, which is amazing.
That's expensive.
Yeah. She told me some of the numbers she paid, and I thought, better you than me.
Wow. I was talking to Jesse Ulrich about what they, the college, and that was outrageous. And it's just, and you said this already, but it's so cool. We have 2 places like that in Fort Dodge now. And we should have
curtains
0.
are like $60,000 to $80,000.
I think they're more than that.
The curtains.
That was used.
The curtains are, used curtains are about that. Yeah, you're talking New Year over 100.
Oh.
They're huge.
Yeah, the ones they put in were used.
Yeah.
That's all they could find on their budget. So.
Yeah, they're so expensive. But no, the nice thing about Phillips too that we don't really get with other places is we're able to be in there from the beginning. So in the past, we usually have to find a separate place to rehearse, and local churches are really great about that, letting us come in usually for free, which is nice. But then we have to transfer. You have to transfer a whole show that you practiced in a church basement and transfer it to a stage. And sometimes it always works out, but there's some growing pains there because you're like, okay, well, we had way more space when we were doing this in a basement, or you have way less space.
That stage is a big stage if you're going across. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, that on top of now we're adding in set pieces. Now we're adding in costumes. Now there's mics. It is a lot to do. And I like to joke that it's kind of like having a baby because you kind of forget how hard it is. Your brain makes you forget. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this is hard. And then about a week after this show ends, I'll be ready to do it again. So
yeah, it takes a week just to recuperate and sleep. And
because you're probably off of a high.
Oh,
it's like, oh, it was so good. Yay.
Well, I'm sure you just want to spend a couple of days not talking to anybody. Just like, I just need me time to regenerate, recharge.
It worked out really well this year because Veterans Day is on Monday. And so that's a day off work for me. So I'll be sleeping in. Don't call me. Don't text me. I am asleep.
I get to give a speech on Veterans Day at they're donating. We talked to Mike Larson a few months ago, and they're actually going to do the dedication for the Veterans Bridge on the 11th.
Oh, sure.
I got to introduce the ambassadors in the Growth Alliance. So I'll be in the program, so it's super cool.
So do you just do one show a year, or do you do multiple?
So Comedia, we just do one show. We do just this one show in November. But a lot of us, like I said, in Fort Dodge, it's everybody doing everything. A lot of us are also involved in Stage Door or Hawkeye Community Theater. So it does kind of feel like we do more than one, but no, Comedia is just this one.
Because back in the day when we had the cellar, I remember it was like 2 or 3 times a year, Comedia would come out after like the big events. And it was always a really good night for us.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it was late.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like after everybody was leaving, and it's like 10:30 on a Saturday night, and it's
just
also
a group of 30 people, and you're like, all right.
30 or 40 people.
Well,
It's
I'm
like,
sure
let's
you
do
knew
it.
they were coming because they had to call ahead at that point to say, hey, we're going to bring 30 of us in at 10:30, so it's worth it.
Yeah, keep an extra cook on. Don't let everyone go home yet.
They'll keep up. So what sets Comedia apart from other groups? I mean, everybody has their thing. Hawkeye has their little thing. How are they all different?
So I think the big thing is we do these giant full-size musicals. So yeah, Hawkeye plays no music at all in those. And Stage Door does small casts. So usually if they're doing a production, there's usually not more than 5 or 6 people in it. But ours is more like mid to large size. So this year we have about 26 people in the show, which is pretty comfortable. I know in the past we've had upwards of 50 people, especially with like kids and stuff. Music
That's like
Man
herding
was
cats,
a big
isn't
one.
it?
Yeah, it is.
Do you have like a backup for each person?
No, but we've talked about it. Again,
Esther.
it
Kind of scary if something happens to someone.
Yeah, it comes back to everybody does everything, right? So it is hard to find backups. We did have a situation last year where our lead, he did start to lose his voice about halfway through our performances, but you just kept pushing through. It just
Hustle through
happens.
it.
Yeah, the show must go on. So
Drink ice cubes.
yeah, a lot
After
of
the
tea.
show.
We drink a
Tea
lot
and
of
honey.
tea. Yes,
I'll donate honey next year. See.
perfect. We need it. We'll go through it.
So what has inspired you to pursue your musical career?
So my mom used to drag me to all of her rehearsals when she was in college. My mom had me when she was pretty young. And she, just every rehearsal she had, she'd take me to. And it's one of those things, it's like you either see it and you're like, okay, I want to do that. Or you see it and you're like, okay, that was fun to do, but I'm not really going to think about it again. And I was that first person who was like, I need to do this. Like, I've been dancing since I was 7 or 8. I did competitive gymnastics, so I've always been kind of on a stage. And yeah, just being able to combine something I love to do, which is singing, and another thing I love to do, which is dancing, I really put it together for me. And so it's kind of fun now because Henry likes to come along with me to my rehearsals.
And she's a little star of her own.
And she does her own shows too, yeah.
Yeah, she's been in 2, right? Suzical the musical. And
She wasn't in Suzical. She was in Madagascar when
that's
Stage
what it
Door
was.
did it. Yep. And then she just played Young Anna in Frozen this summer.
She rocked it too.
I think that's part of it too, is it kind of runs in the blood for some people, and that's our family. So
It's kind of like every career. You know, you watch your parents grow up doing something, and it's like, oh, I want to do that. You kind of follow in the footsteps of your parents.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I remember my first performance, if it counts, I think it counts, was like a church cantata. And I was 5 years old when I was in that. And then it just kind of kept going from there when there wasn't a lot of opportunity where we lived in Michigan for my age. But at that point I was really into dance. So I did ballet, and I actually got to dance with the Russian ballet a couple of times in the Nutcracker, which is pretty cool.
That's great cool.
Yeah, to be able to say that before I was ever 10, which was fun. And so when we moved to Pennsylvania when I was 11, and they had an amazing community theater there that had a lot of kids shows. They did about 6 or 7 kids shows a year. And again, full-blown musicals. And my mom, again, was dragging me along to her rehearsals. We found out they had these. And then at 11, I was doing this 4 or 5 times a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Started young.
Yes.
You kind of opened with this, how Fort Dodge is a small community, yet we have so many musical things going on.
Yeah.
Where do you think it came from? Like, where do you think is it going to evolve even bigger?
I hope so. I think it really is a sense of pride in hometown, right? So the people who are doing this, for most of them, I'm kind of the outlier here, but a lot of them have lived here their whole lives. They have a sense of pride in the fact that we have this, and they're really what keeps it going. The fact that we've had a lot of really prominent Fort Dodge people who are long gone now who continue to donate to the arts. Ann Smelter is a big one. She still, to this day, her grants help fund us for a lot of our shows. And so the fact that they donated their houses, that's where they have cabaret for Stage Door, that they get to use these spaces for things that they probably would have done back in the 1900s. They would have had these songs and, music.
Well, the Smelter House has a ballroom on the third floor. So, I mean, you can just imagine they were in there. And then,
I think having the Larimar ballroom, I mean, I'm glad it's open now again, but having that here for as long as it did and getting those big names, Buddy Holly and everybody else who came through, that's a great addition as well, because that really just honed, okay, Fort Dodge is small, but we can do this. We can have these things. We can have these things come through.
We can have nice things.
We can have nice things.
We can have nice things.
Yes, we can. A lot of it is, a lot of the people that, play live music are from Fort Dodge. A lot of them also aren't, but there's a sense of pride. You'll come out and see the people that performing and singing. I have a lot of people who, they know who I am because they've watched me do so many shows, and I'm like, you have to remind me your name because I do not remember. But they just keep coming out for us, which is, that's what it is. It's just that hometown pride, really.
That's awesome. I like that answer.
I do too. And it is true. Fort Dodge is awesome. We just got to spread the word. That's why we do this, is to spread the word.
Yeah, there's always something to do in Fort Dodge. You just got to look for it.
Everybody on this show keeps saying that over and over again, but out in the streets every once in a while you hear people say, well, there's nothing to do.
Send them my way.
There's all kinds of stuff to do.
I'll tell them.
We get in fights. We're like all puffed up. Like, we'll take it on. We'll tell you this and this and this. And
yeah, I know.
Give me your phone. I'll put something in your calendar for you.
You're going to have too many things to go to.
Yeah,
now.
you're going to be so tired.
Actually, they won't. I'll just send them to my house babysit so we can go have fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Better idea.
We'll go hit every show.
We'll take Henry whenever you want to go do something.
Perfect. I'll take you up on that.
Any dream productions? Stuff that's tough that we haven't been able to do because of size, but maybe because we have Phillips now, you can do.
Yeah. There's always those big ones that you dream of. Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, Wicked, Hamilton. Yeah. But those are ones that it's like untouchable, at least for a long time, strictly because you're not allowed to do them. Because they're touring still, or obviously they're making a movie or whatever it is. And then there, you want to do them, but then you're also like, the sanctity of this musical. Will I mess this up? Will I
almost need like a Whitney Houston or something like?
Yeah, I just need like a real ringer to there. Yeah. So there's dreams where it's like you have a dream role and you maybe want to do this, and then I just don't ever want to touch it because I don't want to, not do it justice.
I don't want to be the one that screws it up.
Yeah, I don't want them to talk about me for the wrong reasons. Yeah.
With that being said, is there a certain character that you would dream of playing personally?
Personally?
Even though it may never happen.
Yeah. My favorite character probably would be, her name's Eponine. She's from Les Mis. She gets to die, which is so fun in a musical. I've done it a couple of times. But it's like, this is, the peak moment of my acting skills. But yeah, I've sang her songs a couple of times in auditions, and that's a good one. But I have gotten to play some dream roles. Stage Door's done two of my very absolute favorite shows. The first one was Dogfight, which I got to be in. I was actually pregnant with her during that one. That one was so good, amazing. I was so glad we were able to do that one. And then the other one was Title of Show, which was a few years ago before COVID, I think. And that was a dream role as well. So, for being as young as I am, I've already gotten to pretty much do most of the roles I've wanted to do. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. I think the other one I always want to see is Book of Mormon.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, have you never seen it?
Joyce and I went to it on Broadway.
Oh,
and it was so much fun. So if you're ever going to do it, I'll buy a ticket for every night.
Then there are times that we come across those ones and I'm like, is that going to play well in Fort Dodge? I don't know. There are a few of them. You're like, I don't know if we can get away with that.
They got 11 months to forgive you.
Yeah. Well, see you next year.
Memories are short.
Yeah.
So you talked about Phillips and they bought new equipment, new sound equipment, that stuff. How does that play into the show as it continues to evolve through kind of these different stages of, the seats are still dirty for the first show and then the seats are cleaned and now, the stage is there and now the music and...
So I think it affords the opportunity to get creative. First of all, not having those things is what really gave us the opportunity to be creative because we had to figure out, so there's not really like a backstage to the stage.
Once that back curtain, there's like just enough room to walk maybe and don't pass anybody.
So you kind of had to figure out, okay, how do we actually stage a show and our director, Alyssa Sparks, has been amazing. Everything when you come, everything you see, she's pretty much conceptualized, and then we all built with our hands. So it's pretty fun to do. So yeah, it gives you that creative sense right from the get-go, but then it also gives you a sense of buy-in, almost like we've been there since the beginning. And so now we have like an attachment to it, sort of. So we talk about what shows we want to do and what that looks like for the future. And we like to do the big shows as well. And Phillips is a good space, but sometimes we have to consider, is it the right space for the show? So we've talked about Iowa Central a couple of times as well, but we just keep coming back to Phillips because they let us in right from the beginning, which is so nice. Yep. Just be able to start from the stage at that point. And also, again, it's just this sense of like being able to text Shelly Bottorff and be like, hey, we need the space. And she has a contract on my desk the next day. Like, it's just that sense of, community that has really been put forth. And it also lessens our budget when I don't have to rent mics.
Iowa Central's not cheap.
Yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah.
So how would you say, like, if somebody were to come to the show for the very first time and put yourself like in their shoes, what would they see? What would the atmosphere be like?
Joyous. I mean, it's especially this show too. This show is, stereotypical. We have a happy ending. There's the hard beginning. It gets a little bit harder, and then there's a happy ending. Stereotypical. But there's singing and dancing and bright lights. You'll see tapping. You see ballroom dancing. It really just is a sense of like pure joy for that time. It's a good 2.5 hours to hang out with a friend or a significant other and just really get to enjoy something that's just happy, which I think we all kind of need these days.
I love going there because it's almost weird. Every time we talk about Shiny Top to somebody, it's like Shiny Top doesn't feel like it should be in Fort Dodge sometimes.
Right.
And it's the same way going into that theater. You walk in, it's the hustle and bustle and the excitement of we're going to see a show.
Yeah.
You grab a drink, you grab a soda, you grab a water, you go in, everybody's talking. And of course it's Fort Dodge, so half the people there. So you're talking to old friends and you're doing all this, you're sitting in your seat, and then the curtains go up and you're like, this is so cool. This should not exist here.
Oh yeah. And I got to talk about the band, the musicians that we have playing on our pit are honestly and I've been doing this for a while, are some of the best musicians I've heard. Dan Cassidy is our pit director. He's a longtime band teacher in the area. We've got a lot of people who have been playing for years with us. Steve Nelson's a big one that plays with us. And everybody plays in like the 515 band, and they also, play elsewhere with other locals. So it's again, that sense of community, and they sound amazing. Like, and this year especially, it's very jazzy, Irving, Berlin, very 1940s.
And that's their forte too.
And that is their forte. So when you just hear them wail, we got to sing with the pit for the first time yesterday. And granted, remember they only play together for a couple of times before they come to us, and it sounded like professional, which a lot of them kind of do this.
Oh, that's what they do.
Yeah,
and they love
professionally,
doing it.
Right? And so to think about, if I had to hear a song, sing it once or twice by myself, and then come sing it with a group of people, I don't know if I'd be able to do that. For them to do that, just, put it all together with one rehearsal and then come to us where we sing, it's amazing. So, yeah.
It was a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Comedia, and someone in our office said that he likes to take his mother to all the shows, like his 80-year-old mother, kind of like a date night thing. Mm-hmm. And how cool is that?
Yeah, we get a lot of people who are like, my parents have been taking me to this since I was a kid. And
now they take them.
Yeah, now
their kids are taking the parents.
Yeah, but it is interesting because I talk about, a sense of familial, in the show itself, but it is on the audience side. A lot of people who don't necessarily want to be in it, but they've supported us every year for the last 50 years, and that's really the only way that we can do the show is through the community support.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking like, she's got a rough life now, and getting around and this and that, but for 2.5 hours, it's just nice. He's like, he looked at her face like during the show and is like, man, she's happy.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
That's what I like about it is, the theater itself, whether it's musicals, whether it's play, whether it's, live performances, that's what it should be. It should be a couple hours of just getting yourself out of whatever's going on in your life and just having happiness for a couple hours.
They make me put my phone on silent,
And
so that's weird. Because it rings all the time. I'll have 8 missed calls at intermission.
Yes, forget your phone for a minute.
Yep, try.
Can you give us one really good, funny story that has happened at Phillips? Nobody really knows about?
We've talked about paranormal activity.
Oh, it's haunted.
This place, and I have the key. So I'm usually the first one there and the last one to leave because I have to lock everything. And nothing like crazy has happened, but every so often, I swear something is following me through that theater. Like I'll walk to go close the door and I'll hear a chair go down or something like that. I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of here. I can't be in here anymore.
Can we do a paranormal episode? We'll go to Phillips and we'll go.
I'd love to.
That would be so cool. And we can talk to ghosts like they do on TV.
Oh, yeah, with like the little recorders.
Get my little
pretend we have stuff like
EMC detector, EMR. It's got a name. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just my imagination. It's obviously very robust, my imagination. But and you people live there now, so it's honestly probably explainable. But in the moment when it's very dark and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, it's a ghost.
It's got to be.
It has to be.
Maybe you should do a scary Halloween story.
If we can prove it's haunted, that's just going to make more people want to go there too.
Oh, yeah. It really opens up the doors for spooky stuff, I guess. I will not be there, but...
Oh, come on. Walking around in the dark with night vision goggles on trying to talk to ghosts.
You know, it is a theme, a recurring theme. There's always, in every theater I've ever performed in, it's always been haunted. So, I don't know.
Yeah, when I went to school there in the 80s, they talked there was a little kid that drowned in the pool at some point in time, one of the students. And it's like, it's still haunted by the student that drowned in the pool. And I'm like, so every time you'd walk there, because I was in a lot of plays and a lot of stuff at night there too. And you're walking around thinking that's haunted and you're looking for ghosts. And
oh, yeah.
And they said the 4th floor was the home ec room that was supposed to be haunted.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Middle schoolers are hard alive. I can't imagine.
Well, that was it started at a high school.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then moved to a middle school when they built the new high school over by Cooper. Where it is now. So, yeah, that started as the Fort Dodge High School.
It was the college for a while, too, wasn't it?
I think they did have Iowa Central there for a little bit until they built the campus.
Yep.
I did not know that.
We'll have Ulrich in here one of these days. I'll set that one up. We can ask him.
Okay. So how do people get tickets?
There's a couple of different ways. If you're comfortable with it, you can go to our website, comediamusica.com. You can purchase tickets online that way. Or if you prefer to do it in person, you can still purchase tickets at Hy-Vee up to the day of the show, your performance of your choosing. Otherwise, you can always buy at the door as well. Performances are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all at 7 p.m. And then we do have a 2 p.m. matinee on Saturday as well. Tickets are $15 for adults and $10 for students.
Link will be in description. You got to hold the bigger sign up for me.
I can't read that far.
It's right there.
Right there. Tell us which one's closed. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I should say that more often, but we're trying to get the word out to everybody. So if you can share this, like it, subscribe, so when a new one comes out, you can continue to push this out. Because ultimate goal when we started this show wasn't so much for people in Fort Dodge. It still helps people in Fort Dodge know what's going on. But it's for everybody thinking about, you know what's Fort Dodge like? I got a job offer here, or I'm thinking about moving and I should move here, and kind of dispel some of the myths around the community. So,
So what do we have? We have a lot.
We have a lot, and it's a great community.
It is. You know, and I'm not an original. I'm not originally from Fort Dodge, but I raised my child here, and I have my family here, and I love it.
Yep.
Wouldn't leave for the world.
And I'm pretty sure I made Henry a Cyclone fan, so.
We'll talk about that.
All right. Well, thank you, Esther.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrap at today's episode of Talk Fort Dodge.
Stay connected with us on social media and join us next time as we continue exploring Fort Dodge's stories through the lens of 2 lifelong Dodgers. I'm Jeremiahjcondon.
And I'm Todd McCubbin, and this is Talk Fort Dodge.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digital agent at spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.